Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, it's ladies. Welcome to Are We Transforming? This is a session that I'm excitedly hosting today with all smiles. My name is Tembegile Felicia Makubele, and I'm the host for Are We Transforming, a platform where we afford everyone, like everybody, mostly in Africa, an opportunity to come and share their stories or share their views about different topics. So today we've got a young lady who is based in KZN, and I just want to give you sort of a story of how I got to host her. Somebody referred to me about her being a poet. And when we were discussing, she was telling me about how she write her poems. So she's one of the people that will be featured in our website. But as we were discussing the other day, she posted something that led to this topic today, which said native speakers will never understand. So I'm like, what are you talking about? So I discussed with her, and I'm like, we're celebrating Africa Month, and in May, would you like to be on our platform? It's like, yeah, but what will I talk about? I'm like, no, you're a poet, so you're going to talk about your poem, but something that you have observed and you can relate to. And she was like, no, it's fine. But throughout the preparations, you could tell that she was very nervous. So I'm saying all this that you should also be very kind to her in terms of questions. But at the same time, this is a platform where we're going to be sharing and participating and allowing people to share their views about the topic, more especially being an African in an African country, more especially if you're a foreign national. I would really appreciate the input. So welcome to everybody, but specifically welcome to Nyasha Muzuva. And I am handing over to you, Nyasha, to tell us why is it that you decided to be on the platform. She's also having her mom on the platform, which we really appreciate the support. I think usually parents would like to be there for their kids, and that is really appreciated. So welcome, Nyasha, and over to you. Just take us through who you are, why you decided to be on the platform. Then we can go to the observations about you being a foreign national in an African country, just to be specific, and what has been your experiences. So over to you, and thank you very much for making time.
Thank you for having me here. My name is Nyasha Rachael Muzuva, and I'm from Zimbabwe. I was born in Zimbabwe, in Harare. Yes. And then my family moved in, my family moved here in South Africa when I was young, before I started school. So my whole life I've been here, you see. So now I'm in varsity, doing my second year. But my whole life I've known that I'm not a citizen of South Africa, even though I've lived here, you see.
How has that made you feel?
Well, I can't say it limits like a lot, because I've been growing with people, and growing together, we do the same things, and you see, we do the same things and we grow. It's been fine. It's been fine, but just that there's certain limitations that I have to keep in mind.
Like what?
Like whenever, there's a lot. Like whenever I need to whenever I need to present like something like an ID, for instance, or even when I meet new people, they ask me, are you from here? Because my accent is different. Everything's different. Even when I speak Zulu, because I'm in KZN, It's just everything's different. Even the way I look, my features, it's not South African. So that gives it gives away.
Really? That is really quite interesting. Has that made you feel like you have to tread in carefully in everything that you do?
Yes. Yes. So that I am not treated differently. So I need to blend in really well so that no one kind of, what can I say? Gives me a cold shoulder because I'm not part of them, you see. So I just have to, sometimes I pretend just to be like everyone else, yeah. So that they don't know my identity.
Wow. I think that is quite profound and quite sad at the same time. And you wrote a poem to that effect that you're going to share with us today.
Yes.
Which I think if you ready, you can be able to share that. But I'm just asking myself, at a stage of you being at school before varsity, how has the experience been?
I think it was because we were still kids. Like, okay, I think it was because we were still kids. Whenever they used to find out that Nyasha is not, even my name, exactly, even my name, my surname, you're not from here. And because they're kids, they used to like, I would call it bullying now to look back at it. They used to make fun, and yeah, it's because we were kids. I think now in varsity, they find it fascinating that I'm a foreigner, actually.
Really?
I actually make friends because of it.
What fascinates them mostly?
That I've got different, honestly, ideologies. That I've got a different, I'm not like their friends, like their normal friends. Yeah, the fact that I'm different.
Wow. If there's anybody who's got a comment or a question before we go to the poem, which when she sent, I was like, wow, so many times. Considering that she's quite young, but the thinking, I think that explains the issues of ideology that you were talking about now. The way you have crafted, you have put together your poem, just explain probably how your observations has been. So if there's anybody who's got a comment or a question, we're talking about how is it being an African or an African foreign national in an African country, but you're treated with differentiation. So you always have to find a way of fitting in, of blending, of becoming one with those who are actually residents of the country. So yeah, if you've got any question, you're welcome to pose the question before I hand it over back to Nyasha. Okay, Ray, you can continue and share the poem. I think it will be interesting to hear, then we can be able to engage from there.
All right. Okay, the poem's title is I Don't Belong Here. I don't belong here. I'm constantly reminded in intervals of my memory span. Oh, how could I dare to forget that my blood is blue and yours alone is red? That I am human, but human after you, of course, that I'm living on borrowed land, that I am as a whole, as small as a grain of sand in this land, that my ID is not my identity and my freedom is not on my ID. I don't belong here. See, you don't have to say it. It's clear to see. It's known as the color of the sky and the Atlantic. That you are convinced that we are siblings. We are not siblings, children of Mama Africa herself under the southern sun, convinced that my blood is blue and yours alone is red. convinced that I don't belong here. See, sorry. I see it when you deny me education, when scholarships become an imagination, you deny me flexibility in finances, free safety and housing. My only chance to success is scarce skills. Basically, my basic needs call for a negotiation. Why? Because I don't belong here. You see, out of desperation, I've learned to please you. I've learned to put your comforts before my own, to communicate in languages you comprehend, to adopt cultures that you lead. I've grown up with your mindset and I've taught myself scarce skills. All this in efforts to merely survive. And the last stanza, it says, see, it seems as though a place of milk and honey that I had hoped has thorns, and barefoot I walk on bruises and burst blisters. What was meant to be a place of refuge and promises is in fact a place of persecution and punishment. There is a reminder time and time again that well, I don't belong here.
I would love you to say it again now, relaxed and taking your time without rushing, because I can see you are a bit nervous. If you don't mind, I would really appreciate you to say it again, but
slowly
and take your time.
Okay. All right. So it says, I don't belong here. I'm constantly reminded in intervals of my memory span, or how could I dare to forget, that my blood is blue and yours alone is red, that I am human, but human after you, of course, that I'm living on borrowed land, that I as a whole am as small as a grain of sand in this land, that my ID is not my identity, and my freedom is not on my ID. See, you don't have to say it. It's clear to see. It's known like the color of the sky and the Atlantic, that you are convinced we are not siblings, children of Mama Africa herself under the southern sun, convinced that my blood is blue and yours alone is red, that I don't belong here. I see it when you deny me education, when scholarships become a distant imagination, when the only chance to success, when you deny me flexibility in finances, free safety and housing. The only chance to my success are scarce skills. Basically, my basic skills call for a negotiation. Why? Because I don't belong here. See, out of desperation, I've learned to please you, to put your comfort before my own, to communicate in languages that you comprehend, to adopt cultures that you lead. I have grown up with your mindset and I've taught myself scarce skills to merely survive, because I don't belong here. It seems as though a place of milk and honey as I had hoped has thorns, and barefoot I walk on bruises and burst blisters. What was meant to be my place of refuge and promises is in fact a place of pain and persecution, punishment, a reminder time and time again that I simply don't belong here. Thank you.
Wow. What was going through your mind when you wrote the poem?
I was thinking of the way the treatment that we get here. How different we are made to be. You see, I was thinking of how everything is difficult. Like a simple process that could just take a few days has to take months to be completed just because you're not from South Africa.
Yeah. You know, as you were reading it, I was asking myself how can you please mute your microphone? I was saying to myself, how many people feel the way you feel? How many people have we, including myself, treated in a way that makes them feel like they are not African enough? To what extent are we doing things knowingly and unknowingly, making those who are not native, like you have said in one of your papers on WhatsApp, to say that they are not good enough to be even called African. We usually say as South Africans, we're going up to African countries as if we are not Africans ourselves. I was watching a game yesterday of Orlando Pirates playing in Nigeria, and Nigerians were supporting South Africa. And I was like, if it was in South Africa, we would not even bother to probably go to the stadium to watch. Do you think we have become so full of ourselves as South Africans? I'll use South Africans because I'm a South African too. Have we become full of ourselves to a point of not recognizing that other African people actually are human too?
I didn't get what you said, that when you said if it wasn't South Africa, they wouldn't have bothered to what? To
I was saying, I was watching a game, a soccer game yesterday, and Nigerians were supporting South Africa. So a South African team. So I was saying, if it was in South Africa, if that game was in South Africa and two different African countries playing in a South African soil, I doubt there would have been so many supporters who would be supporting, and that is not even a South African team. So I was asking, as you observe all these things that are happening, more especially as a young person who has grew up in South Africa for that matter, and like you're saying, experiencing some kind of bullying just because you are not a South African, do you think it's because we are full of ourselves and we think nothing else matters as long as we are comfortable? Because in your poem you say you have to adjust for you to be accepted.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that is because you're full of yourself. I think it's just because you're at home. That South Africa is your home. And when other people come from their homes to come here, it's just that you are on your territory. So it's not like you are, I don't know. I feel like it's not only in South Africa. Even if, let's say I was in Zimbabwe, I think there are South Africans in Zimbabwe who also feel the same way that I'm feeling here. You see? Yeah, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if you are hearing me.
I hear you. I would love to hear from the audience, but mostly from your mom, because you probably have not really experienced as much as probably she has. Mashingi, if you can hear me, may you please just share your experiences. This is actually aimed at educating us on how we're supposed to treat each other as Africans, because I think to a certain extent we feel as if it's all good to treat others who are not South African residents in a different way, which is probably not really nice in most cases. Anybody who has had any experience and is not a South African, or you are staying in another country, there's a gentleman who is who is based in Zambia. He said he's going to join his experience. Anybody? People run away because they don't want to. But anyway, I have traveled to a few different African countries, including Zimbabwe. I've been to the... May you please mute your microphone? Thank you. So in my visitation, one of the things that I've experienced is that they, like you're saying, they can pick you up with your accent, not necessarily looks. But once you speak or you ask for directions, the first thing will be, are you a South African?
Yes.
And then you start asking yourself, am I now going to be treated in a harsh way? But no, they'll be like, oh, okay, that's nice. And then they'll start explaining places that you can say it and give you directions, etc. Which I doubt is the case in South Africa. Because I've got 45% of my friends are non-South Africans, and the experiences they have shared are such that you ask yourself, are we dehumanizing people or making people feel like the only place they can live in is their home country? Whereas, I mean, if anybody can live in any country as long as there are reasons why they are living there and they are legally there. What are the things that you think we need to look into from a young person perspective that we need to look into in order to improve this kind of behavior?
I think people themselves should be taught by people around them that we are all human, and there's no need to be discriminating or bullying or whatever. If you're taught from a young age, or if you're taught from a person that is also a citizen like you, they'll tell you that you have to respect everyone else like just the same. I think that would be peaceful. It would be peaceful because it's not that they disrespect. It's not because of me. Like if someone is being harsh towards me, it's not because of me, it's because of themselves. They were not taught that I'm just like them. You see? So I think one thing that we can just we can improve on is teaching other people. And I wanted to ask that, do you think it's the same since you are in Northern West? Is it Northwest?
No, I'm in Limpopo.
Can't hear you.
I'm in Limpopo.
Limpopo. Yes.
I'm in Limpopo. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can. If you had to come here in KZN, or do you think there are people from KZN in Limpopo who are also treated this differently, like how natives are?
Okay, Limpopo is quite a diverse province. I think more or less, it may not be more like Gauteng, but we have become sort of a place where other foreign nationals come through. So your Mozambicans come through our province, your Zimbabwean come through our province, and a bit of Botswana, the Botswana people also come through our province. And many of them end up settling here. Like the Mozambican, they even have different places where they stay, and they were given by the former government before the 1994 democratic government. And there are those kind of incidents where Mozambicans, for instance, are treated in a manner that is demeaning. They are considered to be laborers. So if I want somebody to plow my field, the first people to go to will be the Mozambicans, because they are considered to be strong and they are not lazy, and they will not charge much. So the things that you hear probably on TV about people who come from other countries being exploited and given jobs, heavy work, the labor that is probably something they were supposed to be paid more, is something that I've seen even from a younger age. Because when the wars were rife in Mozambique, many of them flew to our villages. You know, you will see them crossing the Kruger National Park and asking for food, and will accommodate them. Then the Zimbabwe story also started. You come through Messina, and Messina is in Limpopo. The Bait Bridge is in the border of Limpopo and Zimbabwe. Many of the people initially used to come and sell what we call doils. So, you know, those things that they crush.
Yes. Yes.
They will be carrying like heavy bags, and they will be coming to our villages and selling those. And there will be rumors that some of them are not even human. They are not, they are zombies. If you buy them, your stuff are going to vanish. You know, there were so many stories that we had, but eventually we got used to them, and they became part of, some of them became part of our communities, because they will come, sell, and they go back, come, sell, and go back.
Okay.
It is not something that is new to us, but I can tell you that the treatment that you're talking about is still, as I speak, still applicable. You can tell that people will pick up, because the language they speak, more especially the Mozambicans, if they speak Shangaan, is not the same as our Shangaan in South Africa. It's different. So you can pick up, not necessarily. Even the Ndebeles, those that would come to Limpopo, are not necessarily speaking this in the same accent as the local Ndebeles. So we can easily pick up. And that's where you notice the different treatment, which is not necessarily nice. And I think your poem summed it up so nicely, and sort of indicate the fact that besides us as different ethnic groups treating ourselves in a very harsh way, like for instance, people from Limpopo, if they come to KZN, there's a certain treatment which they get. They even called names. Even when they go to Gauteng, they will be the same treatment. So in every province, as long as you don't reside there, there's sort of a rejection of some sort. But I think it's when you're not a South African, because if I'm a South African, then I'll pull you'll have to fight. But if you're not a South African, then the question will be, what is your ticket to fight? You'll be told you don't belong here, you are not supposed to be here, you are taking our jobs. And even if you talk about the scarce skills that you are referring to, some people will feel, no, why don't you train people in the country for them to become, or to fill those positions for scarce skills? So yeah, it's something that to deal with.
I think what you're saying with even scarce skills, and what you were saying about the Mozambicans being not lazy. It's not that they're not lazy. I personally feel that it's because they again have to adjust themselves to be above people from here, so that they can be employed as well. Because if you are going to do the same work as the next person, then they might as well employ the one from here. But now if you're going to be so much active and your price is going to be lower, I think it's just a matter of adjusting and giving yourself you're just giving yourself an advantage to be picked. Yes.
That is so true. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Nyasha Muzuva. I want to use your native name. I don't want to use the English one. We've got Nyasha Muzuva, who is our guest today, talking about the fact that as a foreign national, you end up not feeling like you belong in the country that you have decided to make your home. And there is no effort in most cases from the people in the native land to try and accommodate such people. Nyasha, you said something about native speakers. What was the reason for you to say that? What triggered that?
I don't get your question.
The native speaker will never understand phrase. Are you hearing
Oh,
me?
okay. Yes, that one. I think the post was saying that when I say something and it doesn't sound right, like if I'm going to speak Zulu and it doesn't sound right, you must understand that I'm translating from my mother tongue. So that's a lot of work on my side. On my side, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, that is so true. That is. Can you hear me now?
Hello.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay, the question I was asking here was what was the reason for her to post a statement that was saying native speakers will never understand? Because that is what actually led to us having this session, because I was asking myself, this is actually true. Because also I'm not staying in a town where I was born, ne? And the people here speak mostly Sepedi. They even expect you to speak to them in Sepedi. So the first communication you'll get from the person whom you let's take it's in a shop, or the person call you at work. The first thing they will talk to you, or the first word you will hear will be in Sepedi. So either you speak to them in English, or you have to swap, because when you start speaking in your language, like in my case, I'll speak in Xitsonga, they won't understand. And they will even tell you, no, I wrote what you're saying. I wrote what you're saying. We can hear what you're saying. So okay. You have to adjust to the current language and probably ways of doing things. If a colleague has a funeral at their home, I have to go and attend. I have to follow the customs of whatever they do when they go there, like wearing the dookie, which we don't do in my area, you know. So you know, yeah, but I'm just asking myself, okay, I was asking her just for you to repeat the answer as to why were you saying that native speaker will never understand. It looks like my network is back on unstable again. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but sometimes it's just shaky.
Oh, okay.
I can. Yes, I was saying it's because whenever I need to say something, whenever I need to say something in Zulu for me to be heard, I need to translate it in my mother tongue first, in Shona first. Yeah. So I have to, even if it doesn't sound exactly how it's supposed to sound, or pronunciation is not the same, but they must just know that they won't understand, because it's not, I'm not speaking my mother tongue, I'm translating. Yes, and what you were saying about going into a shop, I think that's just, you can't say that's wrong, because it's where majority of Sepedi people are there. So they won't be able to hear you. If you can't say they're wrong on that part. Yeah, because it's just you who has to, even if you speak in English though. Do they reply, or do they just reject you like that if it's English?
They reply, but it will usually be in Sepedi.
All right.
Most of the time. So,
All right.
So if you do not know Sipeng, the question will which have learned the language, I'm able to communicate in their language, which is fine. Yeah, so adjusting, I think, is something that we have to do on a continuous basis. But when it becomes bullying, I think that's where the problem is. So how did you make friends initially when you realize that there's sort of a rejection or sort of identification of the fact that you are not a South African, and that gets mentioned every time you are with them?
I remember when I came, the first time when I came, when I was young, my granny was, she used to sell those things you're saying. What are doils? What do you call them?
Doyle.
Yes. So then she knew a little bit of Zulu. So she taught me those simple words. I didn't know any other word. I knew Shona and the words that she taught me. So when kids used to talk to, I used to reply with only those that she taught me. So I didn't, they would ask me something that has no connection with what I'm saying, and but until I learned Tige, and then, because it was also a matter of, I'm also teaching them English. While they reply to me in Zulu. I also reply in English until now I can actually reply in their language. And I think it's better. Hello?
Yeah, I'll continue.
Hello?
We can hear you. We can hear you,
Okay.
ma'am. Continue.
All right. I was saying,
all right.
I think
you can continue, but you froze on my side.
You're also frozen. Yeah. I was saying, I think it's better for kids.
Yeah, continue.
For kids who move into another country and learn different languages while they're kids. Because when a grown-up comes, moves into a different country, it's very difficult for them to learn how to speak it. They can understand, but to speak, the tongue is already stiff from their mother tongue. You see? Yeah. So I think my advantage was also that I came when I was I was 5, I think.
Oh, okay.
So I was just learning to speak.
Okay. Any question, participant? Any comment? We don't want to have a dialogue. We just want also to have people that are
discussion. Yes.
Yeah, discussion. So if you have any comments or question or share your experiences, that will be appreciated. I don't want to mention people by name because we can see. Can Mama Shingi still hear? I would really love to hear her experience.
Sorry, is she still?
Yeah, she's still here. Do you have any questions or comment? Those who are on the platform, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, ma'am. I think I have a comment.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I am a little bit shocked because she came to South Africa at a very young age. And I am struggling to understand why the communities around her were struggling to accept her as part of them, because she effectively grew up in South Africa. For me, she's South African more than Zimbabwean, and she's African. And
yes.
the poem itself, I like to read it many times. It is so good, but it is also so bad for the message that is saying, which is very true. The message is very hurtful, but I like your poem. Is very good. I like to read poems, but my worry is the message that is saying, which is true. Because even in South Africa, there's a tendency of people not treating people from their area the same way that they treat their locals. Even if you are here in Gauteng, for example, somebody from Johannesburg thinks he's better than somebody from Pretoria. And in the same vein, somebody from Pretoria thinks he's better than somebody from Polokwane. And the same will continue. Somebody from Polokwane will think he's better than somebody from Guyane and from Malamulele. So there's a tendency amongst Black communities to have this prejudice against people who are not from within their own community. It is not only foreigners, foreign nationals, or people from other countries that are treated the same. No, even within South Africa, within Gauteng, within Northwest, even within Mukopane. I come from Mukopane. There's a town called Mukopane in Limpopo. Even within Mukopane, people who stay next to town Mukopane, they think they look down on people who come a little bit far from town. So there is that tendency amongst the Black people in Black communities. That is, I don't know if that is how they are, but that tendency is there. And most of South Africans, for example, who look down on other African people, they don't travel. They don't know how much people go through. They think everything is just it's most like people in urban areas who has never seen a chicken. They think chicken come from Woolworths. They will say, you come from the farm. Understand? So if I were you, ma'am, I would not worry about that treatment. It is almost everywhere. I think even in the Americas, people from North America, they treat people from South America differently from the people from their own continent. So that is how bad it is. But maybe or maybe I want to answer you, Austin, to say, are we transforming? Really, we are not transforming at a pace that will create peaceful communities. If we were transforming at that rate, we would probably not even have Lesotho and Swaziland. We'll probably not even have Zimbabwe and Zambia and whatever. We'll just have one country. Yes. If you go to East Africa, they are so much intertwined as a community. They have even created East African community where they will have one bank, one economy. You see, so they are working on towards removing the borders between the East African community. So my take is, I wish we will also follow the same and have a SADC bank and not have a border between South Africa and Zimbabwe, not have a border between Botswana. Well, of course, we will still call the country Botswana, but let's try to uplift the standard of living of people in our region, in the SADC region, so that we don't have high unemployment in South Africa, and then maybe we end up having a lot of people in South Africa from neighboring countries because of the socio-economic problem. In fact, it's socio-political, which tend to be socio-economic. But if we had that one community, that one political system, we will not have a lot of Zimbabweans coming to South Africa to do gardens. We will not have a lot of South Africans going overseas to become taxi drivers there. You see how this hierarchy, this socio-economic and socio-political hierarchy is. People from Zimbabwe come to South Africa to do the odd jobs. People from South Africa will go to Dubai and do the odd jobs that they are not doing in South Africa. Unfortunately, that is a world economy. But we, as Black people, we are still not accepting our diversity. We are still not saying somebody in Gauteng thinks is better than somebody from Northwest and somebody from Mpumalanga, for example, because there are a lot of opportunities in Gauteng than in other provinces. The same as there are a lot of opportunities in South Africa compared to the neighboring countries. First, then people in South Africa will then treat people from their neighboring countries as if they are not part of them. And in effect, we are the same. Remember, in the beginning, there was Gondwana continent, there was Mapungubwe, where Zimbabwe, South Africa, Zambia, and most of the SADC were almost the same region. When there were no borders, people were just traveling, living together. But I think as you say, most people don't know. And unfortunately, most of us, we don't even read. We don't read, we don't know the history. We just think that I find chicken go Woolworths is from Woolworths. I don't know that this chicken comes from the farm. That person, when you drive on the N1, you see in the field working, that is where your meal come from. Most people don't know. They are in Santen and think, no, food are from Woolworths. For them, everything is as easy as it is. They've never been to other countries. If you go to Maputo and see how people are struggling economically, you will find a lot of women in the field plowing the field because they are trying to survive. But people who have never been there, they don't know. They think conflicts are just there from macro. That is why if you say you're from Maputo, they will say, oh, you're from Maputo. But forgetting that we are in fact the same people. But thank you for the poem, ma'am. It's very good. But the message is also very helpful, but it's very good. I wish Austenbekile, you can post it somewhere where we can read it again. And Austenbekile, thank you very much for this platform. I think it's opening our eyes. I've been to a few African countries. I've been to Namibia, Swaziland, Zimbabwe, but I've never received any bad treatment. I always, I don't remember getting any bad treatment from any of these African countries. So we should also do the same. We should also replicate the same treatment and treat our fellow Africans as part of us. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Marvelo. I think it's not much about her not worrying about the treatment. It's about how we should collectively worry about this now affecting people who are younger than us. So if she experienced it as a varsity student or even before as a 5-year-old or as she's growing, it means this trend is not even going to stop now. It's something that we need to find a way of dealing with it. The divide and rule is still, rife in South Africa. You still see it even in workspaces or in workplaces, which is something that we're supposed to be looking into. So the poem is actually quite hurtful. Quite hurtful, but it's actually good. It's actually an eye opener. I will make sure that when we post this video, we'll also put the words as you read them, so that people can also see them, but we'll also share with the people that we usually invite. Any other questions? Would you like to say something after what Mr. Marvelo said?
Yes, I think it's only the part where he said it's because people are not exposed to a lot of things. That's why they degrade other people, and they look down upon them. It's because they're not exposed to it, they're not educated about it. That's what I was saying. It also comes back to what I was saying about educating kids from a young age. Because as I was growing up, I think in high school, around grade 10, it was perfect. I had blended in so nicely and everyone was happy. But it's because I think they had gotten that education in grades like grade 8 and 9. So before then, kids don't know about it. Kids don't know about it, and they don't know about the diversity in South Africa and how they should be treating other people, and how to communicate even with people in not a harsh way, a hurtful way. So it's all about being exposed to it and being educated on the topic of foreigners near you.
Foreigners, diversity. As being Africans, I get your point. I really do get your point. Anybody else? Tebogo, I saw you writing something on the chat box. Please share it so that it can be on record as part of us discussing.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank
Excellent.
you very much. Like as Mr. Moevelo was talking, the idea, like this idea came into my mind about diversity. Sometime in my early career years, I was involved in a project wherein we were doing diversity management, diversity management. And the purpose was just to go around. I think it was just after the elections, a few years after the 94, and we were just getting to blend in systems and knowing each other and understanding how we should live together in South Africa. As you rightly said, that South Africa is quite diverse on its own. Now, as this discussion is being held, I'm realizing that we haven't really, as citizens, got to understand what diversity is and how to, I don't know if management is the right word or implement it would be the right word. I'm just lost for words there. But we never really got to understand it, because for the fact that, as Mr. Moabelo said, we as communities within South Africa, we call ourselves South Africans, but we still look at each other in a particular way because you belong to a particular tribe. That in itself just shows the holes that we as the country have. Now, hence we are unable to relate well with our brothers and sisters from Africa. I don't want to talk about foreign nationals because it's a concept I also don't understand. But yeah, hence we are unable to deal with our brothers and sisters from when I mean
Other
I
African
actually mean like from the countries in Africa. So that is where I personally believe that it is where our challenge begins. We are unable to manage our own diversity. We tend to then look down on the countries, our brothers from the countries within our continent. So until we get that right, we will still be struggling. And I'm just grateful that even though we have laws that allows cross-bordering, but we still need a lot of work to do as communities to find acceptance within each other, and just know that we understand we understand each other's and our backgrounds. Traveling would also help, because if you know how other countries live, the perception that we have in South Africa is that countries in mid-Africa, Central Africa, they are so like in poverty and all that, hence they are coming to South Africa to find better life. You'll find that that is not the case when you go to those countries. You find that it's not actually the poverty that has been broadcasted to us. So we just need to find our way to manage the diversity as it is. Thank you very much. I would also like to get a copy of the poem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Any other comments? That was quite profound. I think the issue of us not being able to manage our own diversity and not accepting each other, then we take it out on people who are coming from other African countries is quite evident. So if I'm not able to manage a vendor-speaking person or relating well with a vendor-speaking person, then I'll take it out on a foreign national, because I'll be saying to myself, anyway, this one is not South African. That one I have to tolerate because we're coming from the same country and there's nowhere where we can go. But at least the other one can go back to their country. What happens when this Africa becomes one? It's gonna be quite interesting if indeed we become as East Africa has now started. I saw in one article that they are now having, they are working towards having a one procurement system. So all African or East African countries are going to be procuring using one system, which we're still far off from the SADC region, but it's something for, it's a discussion for another day. Thando lwethu, Mr. Mafu.
Greetings to everyone. Greetings to everyone. Yes. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you so much for the conversation. Unfortunately, I joined a bit late. Had some power challenges in KZN. It's a very interesting conversation, especially for I think it was Mr. Mwabelo who talked about the fact that some of us do not travel much. Being born in the then Transkei in the Eastern Cape as a Xhosa speaking person, I had the privilege of traveling and working in 4 different provinces in South Africa, which currently I am in KZN. A very interesting province, because the reason why I'm raising this is because when I came to KZN, I picked up the fact that as much as isiXhosa would be closer to isiZulu because they are Nguni languages, but there is so much that the people from KZN do not know about people from any other province, because fortunate enough for them, they've got the privilege of having all the bigger cities as compared to some parts of the Eastern Cape, which is the former Transkei. You meet with some people within the area. You find that they've never traveled beyond 400 kilometers from where they stay. Some they've been just around the closer areas of KZN, and they do not know much about all the other people from the other areas, such that the expectation is that regardless of where you come from, you need to just understand them and blend in within them. I've met with so many people who are from the other provinces. Some are still to speaking. They are forced, when you're in KZN, and unfortunately you have to speak isiZulu, you are forced to speak isiZulu. Last week I had a conversation with one of my colleagues, another young man. He's saying to me, Thando, you've been in KZN at least for 10 years now, but you're always speaking to us in isiXhosa. Why are you doing that? Now I'm coming to the question of saying that what is it that we can do towards helping each other to understand each other? Because one of the things that I realized that because they've never been exposed to the other people, because they are from a province that has more resources than the others, they don't see the need to learn from the other people. And I told this young man last week to say, the reason why I always speak to everyone in isiXhosa, I'm intentional, because you've got an opportunity for you to learn the languages of other people. And when you get to learn, at least the language is the beginning, you will get to know how other people do things. Then you get to appreciate other people and to understand that actually the things that are done in KZN, they're the same as some of the things that are done in Limpopo. We are one people, it's just different locations. Now from that one, that's why I've even taken a decision that even when I'm going to the shops, when you're at the cashier, I speak in isiXhosa intentionally. 1 or 2 words or 1 or 2 things that I can teach someone who's from KZN to say, this is how the things are being done in other places. And most of the people, they get to appreciate it because unfortunately, they've never been exposed to other people, which is one thing that I've picked up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Nyasha Muzuva, and she's our guest, a UKZN student. Kama, what are you studying?
I'm studying a BSc in biological sciences.
Nice.
Can I just add to what Mr. Mafu was saying?
Yeah.
The issue of languages, I think, yes. I've noticed that Xhosas, they don't try to adjust. They say Xhosa one way. And you're like, I don't understand what you're saying, but they just speak Xhosa. They are so so intentional in that, exactly. And then the other thing is that me being Shona, okay. It's because I've grown up with people making fun of Shona. So when they actually attempt, like genuinely attempt to speak Xhosa, to speak Shona, I feel offended. And I know I shouldn't be, but it's just that I know I am thinking maybe they're trying to make fun of me or what. But in your, I think what he was saying about you are intentionally making them learn and pick up a few like a few words of Xhosa and teaching them by not changing or by not adapting to isiZulu. It does not offend you when I try to speak isiXhosa, but I cannot pronounce it properly. Does it not? Is it not like I'm mocking you in a way?
Sister B, through you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nyasha. I think because in my case, because I've been to many provinces where I had to learn to speak different languages, I had to adjust and understand the fact that no one is born knowing a different language. Now, in the case of people who are attempting to speak isiXhosa, for example, having grown in the Eastern Cape, if you go to places like East London and the former Transkei, you meet with so many white people who are speaking isiXhosa. Now, because we grew up seeing these white people learning to speak the language, so for me, when I see someone who's learning a language that is not theirs, I get excited because they get an opportunity to know better. Of course, I think because I'm a teacher by nature, I enjoy to have an opportunity to say, oh, okay, this is how you pronounce it. You're doing well. And then you can learn this one and that one. And then it gives an opportunity to relate with people. So for me, when people are trying to speak isiXhosa, for example, I get excited because it's an opportunity to learn. It's like how I try to speak isiPedi and the others. I try. I'm sure I butcher the language, but I try. And then when you see a person saying, oh, okay, this person is trying to reach out. This person is trying to value me as a different person. Instead, so I think we need to change how we look at it to say, okay, I'm Shona speaking. When this person is trying to do this, it means that they value me enough that they are willing to attempt to speak my language. And it would mean a lot. Thank you.
Wow.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
That is quite interesting. That is quite interesting. Mamshingi, there was a time your microphone was on. I think it was after I requested that you share your experiences. If you can hear me, I would allow you the platform too.
I think her phone has a problem.
Okay, no, it's fine. Anyway, I would love you to do the poem again because there are people who join. If there are any other comments, we're still welcoming those comments because we still want her to do the poem again. Just to remind us that we have to make each other feel like we love it. I think for implementing the Ubuntu project, if ever that is a project in its own, and that includes also accommodating other people. I usually don't teach people my language, but I learn people's languages. And I will, to a point of me speaking them fluently, you will pick up that I'm not of that language, but I usually wouldn't, make an effort of teaching another person the language or my native language. So I think this is actually also provoking me to also teach other people, maybe to greet and to ask for food and, water. Then, hopefully that will go a long way. Amanda, I just have to pick on you because I see you now. I would love to hear your voice and your views. If you can hear me. Okay, maybe she doesn't. In the absence of any comment, I would love to have you saying that poem again or reading that poem again.
Can I share my screen because it's on Word?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Can you enable it because it's disabled?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. So the title is I Don't Belong Here.
Just make it a bit bigger.
Is it fine?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't belong here. I'm constantly reminded in intervals of my memory span, oh, how could I dare to forget that my blood is blue and yours alone is red, that I am human, but after you, of course, that I am living on borrowed land, that I as a whole am as small as a grain of sand in this land. And that my ID is not my identity and my freedom is not my ID. See, you don't have to say it. It's clear to see. It's known like the color of the sky and Atlantic. That you are convinced we are not siblings, children of Mama Africa herself, under the southern sun, convinced that my blood is blue and yours alone is red. See, I see it when you deny me education, when scholarships become an imagination, when you deny me flexibility in finances, free safety and housing. The only chance to my success are scarce skills. Basically, my basic skills call for a negotiation. Why? Because I don't belong here. You see, out of desperation, I have learned to please you, to put your comforts before my own, to communicate in languages that you comprehend, to adopt cultures that you lead. I've grown up with your mindset and I've taught myself scarce skills, all this in efforts to merely survive. See, it seems as though a place of milk and honey, as I had hoped, has thorns and barefoot I walk on bruises and burst blisters. What was meant to be my place of refuge and promises is in fact a place of pain, persecution, and punishment. A reminder time and time again that I simply don't belong here.
See, when she sent me that poem, I read it, I think 7 times. 7 times. And every time I kept on realizing that we really need to change. We really need to find a way to do things differently. Whether it's a foreign national or whether it's a person who does not come from your province or your ethnic group, we really need to treat each other as human beings, because Ubuntu says you are because I am. So if you are because I am, then it means your place of residence is not necessarily quite important. And it means I should appreciate you as a human being, not necessarily based on the language you speak or where you come from. I just cannot thank you enough. Any comments maybe before you do your parting shots from anybody from the platform? I saw the love emoji from somebody when you were busy reading. It's quite a very moving.
Thank you.
Yeah, but any parting shots? You said 1 hour is going to be too much. You see, it was not that much. So we're gonna do it more and more next time.
No, thank you so much for having me and being able to express. You know, no one is actually willing to listen. No one's willing to be asking these questions. And like, yeah, so thank you for being willing to learn about my experience and
Thank
for
you.
listening.
Yeah. You said you're a young lady of few words. I can see now why you write a lot. Mr.
Thank you again, Sister Tembi. Mrs. Nyasha, thank you so much for. I'm moved. I need to get this poem and read it again and again. Yeah,
Thank you.
It's going deeper. And then I think I heard that you are in UK, and which campus is it? Because I feel like we need to reach out as well, just to expand this family, because I believe that God always brings people together for a reason.
Fair
Now I
purpose,
feel
yes.
like I found a little sister in you that we can reach out and see what we can work around. I mean, for me, I want to learn more about you and where you come from, and I'm sure there's so much that you can learn about me and the other people that I relate with as well. Which area are you in, KZN, if it's okay?
I'm in PMB campus, but right at the moment I'm at home in Westville.
In Westville. Oh, yes. Okay, no, that's because I'll talk to Sister Tembi if it's okay, and check how we can contact each other. Then we can take it from there, so that you can meet with other people who will speak other languages as well. There is a group of family and friends that we have as well, that we like to have those get together where we get to know each other. I mean, it's the same thing that is happening with you in KZN, is the same thing that happened with us coming from other provinces. I mean, you had people coming from Limpopo, Eastern Cape, and others. So we're to find a way to say, okay, guys, let's first build the relationships between us, and then let's expand and get to know the people in the province. Now you get to understand, and we get to educate them and to share some other things that they do not know. Because remember, it is the fact that they've been not exposed to other environments. That's why they are so like this. And the more they get to meet you, they get to understand you, they get to realize that, okay, we need to learn and grow in these areas.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll definitely. One of the things we do in this platform is to connect people, so it becomes also a networking platform. Yeah, I believe that from here on you'll get invites to come and do your poems in future.
Thank you so much. And I have one last request.
Yeah.
As I've said that I'm a student at UKZ, and I'm doing my second year. Actually, I'm starting my second year in July, because I started last year, you see. Sure. So then with regards to funding, if there's anyone who knows any scholarships for refugees that I can apply for, I've tried a number of them. I've tried, as you know, NSFAS is not for, it's only for citizens here. So if there's anyone who has an idea of where I can try to apply as I finish my degree, or even afterwards as well.
No, we'll definitely link you up, even with people who are not on the platform. Some that are not even in the country, that usually would assist other people with different projects, will also share the information and link you up with them.
Thank you so much.
Anything, but I believe you'll be with your proposal to them, or sort of your request to them directly.
I understand. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much to everybody for making time, and those who are coming in and logging off, we appreciate. And for your mom to come and support you, she still could not speak. I would have loved to have.
Can you pronounce who replied? Yeah, starts with a T and the surname starts with L.
Tiva Lijade.
It's Tiva or Tiva?
Tiva. Va.
Oh,
is
wow.
Speaking.
All right.
So that
thank you also for the message at the chat.
Yes. Thank you so much. So thank you so much, everybody. this was one of those sessions where we're also sort of participating in celebrating Africa, but at the same time highlighting issues that we need to individually, contribute towards changing and making a difference. And I hope with this session, we're going to look at how we interact with other people and how we, we contribute towards this diversity management, which the Bokosachi doesn't know that's management or it's implementation, but yeah, to make sure that we become that one Africa. We are not South Africa out of Africa. We are South Africa within Africa, and we are one of the countries in Africa. So maybe we should learn also to avoid saying African countries as if we are not an African country, which makes us, I think, a bit elite. An attitude we might want to shed a bit. But thank you so much, Nyasha. And like Mr. Mwabelo said, you are a South African. You are a Southern African in the SADC region. So I hope to host you again and we talk more about other issues and other poems. And I believe people are going to learn from it.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you so much.
You can see this is
Inkomu. You know Inkomu means thank you in Tonga.
Inkomo. Inkomu. Inkomu.
No. Yeah, Inkomu.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Obrigado.
How to say thank you in your language?
It's Maitabasa. In Shona, you say Maitabas.
Can you spell it?
Maitabasa.
Yes, it's M-A-I-T-A, Maita, and Basa is B-A-S-A.
Okay. Maitabasa. Okay, at least I learned one Shona a word today.
Yes.
I know there's this word in Shona Ngunguvari, was some that in Moelitimbegi's book, the last chapters there they talk about the problems in Bulawayo and Matabele land south. Okay, I forgot the word.
I can't recall it as well.
What does
you
it
can't
mean?
recall it. Anyway, I can recall it. Where is my book?
Okay.
I can't find it in my study room. I wanted to read it for you.
What does it mean? What does it mean? Maybe I can.
It was an operation where they were killing people there. In 1983, you were probably not around.
No, I wasn't.
No, it's fine. Thank you for the homework, Mr. Mwabelo, to go and check.
No, it's fine. I'll find it. I'll find it and then, yeah.
Maitabasa.
Maitabasa. Thanks.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for making time. Rialebucha in Sipedi and also Sutu, right? And Nkosi in
Xhosa. Yes. Yeah. I know that one. And Siyabonga.
In isiZulu. Rolibuwa in Venda, ne? That's how they say it.
What is in Venda is what? Rolibuwa.
Rolibuwa.
Oh.
The way you're saying, oh, but yeah, we really appreciate. This session was quite interesting. I'll share the poem with everybody. I'll put it in a nice page so that I can share. But please don't forget to go to our YouTube channel and check out other videos. On YouTube channel, we are We Transforming with Tembegile Felicia Makubele. And then on Facebook is Are We Transforming. On LinkedIn, we are We Transforming. So you can follow us there to get some information and people who are also engaging with us. collaborations that get initiated in mostly on LinkedIn through that platform. That's where we are. But thank you so very much for this opportunity. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and also follow and like our LinkedIn and Facebook page. See you next time.